conceptually, how do we carry out the VDC in our project? So the answer is that firstly, the stakeholders need to come together to agree on the goals. Okay, all right. There could be more than one goals required, okay, or agreed by the different stakeholders, but that will be the starting point, because the goals is going to drive, the usage of the resources. So you need to set what are your goals, and when you have already decided on the goals, then you have a direction to follow. Yeah, based on the goals that have been set, the stakeholders, okay, can then start to distribute the resources to then further zoom down to define, okay, what are the objectives, okay, or sometimes we call it the critical success factors. What are our specific objectives in order to allow us to achieve our goals to be done. And when we know that, okay, we can start to drill down, okay, to look into the various activities that will be taking place in our delivery life cycle of the project. There will be many activities. Yeah. So for each one of the activities, these stakeholders will then be looking at the target. Okay. What are my specific targets for that particular activities, and how do I measure, okay, the performance? How do we know if we have achieved our targets by undertaking all the different work using the different resources and all that? Okay. So that is in a gist, okay, the typical way we go about implementing VDC. And all this while we are making use of this information through BIM, yeah, the managing the different stakeholders, the people, and looking at the processes, yeah. Remember previously I was talking about the fact that the VDC is supported by three areas, okay, the people, okay, the processes, okay, and the handling of information using technologies, and currently we are using BIM as our backbone. So that is all being used, okay, all right. So meaning that for each one of our activities that we have identified that we want to undertake in the course of our project, okay, or in order to achieve the goals and the objectives and therefore the goals, each one of all these activities, we will need to look into the information aspect, the BIM aspect, the people aspect, and the process aspect. And under this BIM aspect, okay, there are three sub areas to look into: the products, the content, the quality. Under the ecosystem or people, okay, we'll be looking into the stakeholders, the environment, and the platform. Okay, and under the different process, we can look at different ways, okay, to make the process more efficient. We will be discussing in detail, okay, under all these areas next. Let us start with the goal or the goals. Yeah. So a goal is an overall desired result from all our VDC efforts. It may be a project goal that's agreed upon in consensus with all the stakeholders, or it can be an organizational goal to improve a company's business process. For example, okay, the goal is to reduce the time needed, okay, to complete the project, or to reduce the cost, or to reduce the manpower. So we need to be very mindful that the more goals we set for ourselves, the more resources will be needed. So we need to balance, okay, we need to balance the goals that we desire to have versus the amount of resources that we are prepared to put up front. Okay, yeah. So then we go on to the objectives. Yeah, so the objectives are more specific points of focus in order to carry out a goal. This aspect of focus helps a project or organization team to concentrate their efforts and identify specific activities that needs to be done, okay, in alignment, okay, with their desired results. For example, okay, in order to reduce time, okay, maybe we want to maximize okay, opportunities for prefabrication, because the thinking is that the more prefabrication you can do, you can run it concurrently, yeah, so you can help to reduce time in that sense. Or you optimize the construction sequence, you then optimize the this activity sequence. So this becomes your critical success factors, your objectives. Or in order to reduce cost, you want to look at the design optimization, or you want to look into this area of what we call value engineering, yeah. Or you want to eliminate, okay, abortive reworks. You want to have accuracy of procurement quantities. So then this becomes your critical success factors under the goal of reducing costs. Or to reduce manpower, you may go for, increasing more prefabrication, yeah, or eliminate on-site options, optimize detailed construction labor activities. Okay, yeah. So that is the objectives. Then we'll go on to look at what are the activities that needs to be done along the different phases, okay, of the project delivery, yeah. So activities are general tasks that needs to be carried out, okay, as part of accomplishing the critical success factors, okay. So each activity or groups of activity, okay, must have a specific target against which the performance can be measured, right? So now we are looking at for every one of our activities that we want to undertake in order to achieve our objectives and our goals, okay. These activities, once we apply resources already, okay, how do we then measure whether has the resources been used effectively, and what is the target that we intend to have, okay, once we apply the resources, okay. So target are specified, okay, desired outcomes, okay, of each activities or group of activities. The performance measure can be set for some of these targets, okay, to provide a baseline or a yardstick for performance that can be continuously collected and tracked throughout the project, okay. Now, for example, let's say coordination works. Okay, coordination works has been identified as a way to maybe reduce the amount of abortive work, okay. Right. So through proper coordination work, maybe we can reduce the amount of abortive work by, let's say, 30%, for example. Okay. So then this target, okay, is to collaboratively. Collaboratively means that now all the different stakeholders that is involved in that particular area, okay, of coordination, okay, they must come together. It cannot be just one person, let's say the construction manager, that is driving everything. That wouldn't work. Okay, it can't work. It requires all the affected parties to come in order for proper coordination to be done. Okay. Also to collaboratively, okay, resolve all raised issues as quickly as possible. Okay. So that could be a target. Okay. Another target could be to clear all issues at least 3 weeks before the physical construction work starts. Yeah. So there is something that is very objective. Okay, in this case, at least 3 weeks, okay, before the physical start. Objective, so that everybody can see. It's not something that is very vague. Okay. So something that normally when we set target, we want it to be factual, okay, objective, and measurable measurable. Okay. Then after that, performance measurement, okay, we can say that, well, we want to have time taken, okay, to solve the incident to be reduced, okay, to maybe a half a day or whatever. Okay. All right. We want to make sure that every meeting, okay, when we are doing our collaboration, there is a proper taking of attendance, so that we know, okay, who has came for the meeting, right? And we want to capture, okay, the plan, okay, versus the actual in the BIM model. All right. So that is the typical framework, okay, that we are using when we are talking about this VDC. We set our goals. Then after that, we look at our objective that is needed in order to achieve the goals. And the objectives will require different activities, okay, to be undertaken. And for the various activities, we are going to spend resources on these activities. And in order to make sure that the resources are spent in a meaningful manner, we need to have targets for our activities, and we need to be able to measure how are we doing after we have put in the resources. And all this while, when we are doing all this, okay, that means spending our resources on the activities, okay, we are using the three areas to help us. We are using the area of BEAM for information, okay, because we are going to handle a lot of information or in a typical project delivery life cycle, a lot of information. So we are using BEAM to help us. And because we are going to manage different groups of people at different times, okay, or we need to look into the people issue, and we are going to also use different processes, different groups of people. They have different ways of doing things, different processes. So we need to look into how to make the process more effective. All right. So the next few discussions will be talking about these three areas lah. That means using BEAM to manage all the slew of information that we have, or we are going to have, or we create in our project delivery. That's one big area. The other big area is how to manage, okay, the different people that we need to bring together to collaborate, okay. And the third big area is the different processes. How do we optimize them? All right.